You can't see this microphone right here?
No.
Isn't that so crazy?
Whenever you're ready.
Yay!
Do you have an intro or something?
Yeah, so welcome to Tea Talks. Today we have Tyler, which is a good friend of mine. I mean, we've been friends for a really long time.
Yeah, it's been
ever since
to 2-3 years, something like that.
Yeah. We left off on a really good conversation of like bullying and stuff and like how you had tucked your ears?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah, or
I
it's
said
pinning. It's called pinning.
Okay, I'm like,
yeah.
chop.
Yeah. But yeah, I was 5, and my mom had just kind of recently gotten married to my stepdad. He's a wonderful guy. And they decided to spend the money on me getting my ears pinned. So yeah, I don't quite remember on how they approached me and whatnot. I think they just saw that, hey, we can spend a few $1,000s and hopefully make him have a better life than what the path that he's kind of going right now. So
how did your life transition from that?
I don't really know.
I guess you were pretty young.
Yeah, I was pretty young. I remember I had this turban on my head and went to school with it, so I got picked on a little bit afterwards too, and it's like, well, that didn't really fix anything. But I think, if I'm being honest, I'm probably hard to get along with sometimes, so I could see how I could be picked on, but at the same time, I just kind of brush it off. And
back then you were, or now you are?
Well, I think I can be difficult.
I don't think I've seen that side of you.
Yeah, I know. Some people do, some people don't. So I want to say it was like right around that high school time frame when I wasn't a very good. I played hockey my entire life. This is my 26th or 27th season playing hockey, and in middle school and in high school I wasn't that good, and I ended up going to a goalie camp and coming back my senior year. And I would have to say that junior, senior year is kind of when I realized, hey, there's a life outside of whatever this is. And you kind of see it in people, they grow up in a small town, they stay in a small town, they go to college in a small town, and that's just all they know. To me, there's a giant world out there. I would much rather go see what else is out there. My route was joining the Air Force. I wanted to, have someone else pay for it because traveling's expensive. And I did a little bit of traveling, which was nice. But yeah, it was a good time. To touch back, junior, senior year, I was playing hockey, got pretty good my senior year. And I don't know, people kind of just changed the way they approached me. They were like, oh, well, you're pretty good at hockey now, so now you're cool-ish, I guess.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And so I had a really good friend in high school who also kind of helped that. His name was Noah Berglund. So between him and getting better at hockey, I think that really helped increase my social status, I guess. I could be wrong, but I think that's kind of what happened.
But if you felt different, I think, when I was growing up, I was really, really thin. Because I was called fat girl when I was younger.
Really?
Yes, I was called fat girl. And so it really messed with me. So I had so at first I just didn't eat a lot. So I was very thin, and I think people were kind of afraid of me.
Yeah.
And then eventually I just started getting comfortable with eating food, I guess. And I started to blossom, I suppose. And there's that shift. You can definitely feel that people, there's a change. People are talking to you, and you're starting to hold your head a little bit higher.
Yeah.
And maybe through hockey and your friend, that was kind of something you felt too.
Yeah, he was popular and everybody loved him. He's a super nice kid. I don't think I've ever seen him say anything mean or bad about anyone ever. And so people just naturally flock to him.
Oh, he's one of those cool guys.
Yeah, he's like you. I don't think I've ever heard you say anything bad about anybody. I don't think I've ever heard you and Ben disagree on anything. It's, not that we spend a lot of time together, but you guys always seem super friendly.
I think we're both really easygoing.
Yeah.
Which is a problem, because then sometimes we're like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do?
Yeah, sounds like me and Abby every night. Hey, where do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to eat?
We should just start doing days. Okay, on Monday, it's your day, you choose.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, it's, that way we just eliminate the...
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be really nice.
The hour of decisions. I'm messaging you last night, and you're just getting back from hockey, going to rock climb 6 a.m. or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So I'm glad that we brought up rock climbing, because you have just dove into that.
Yeah, head
And
first.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's so much fun and cool.
So rock climbing to me is one of those niche things. It's gotten a lot bigger with the expansions of like actual rock walls, like big walls that you'll see in Denver and Seattle and Minneapolis, you know, the big cities. They'll have 2 or 3 rock climbing gyms, and you can do anything from bouldering to sport climbing to, and I'll touch on these in
I
a
was like,
second,
bouldering? What is that?
to lead, to top rope, you know, some of them have some trad stuff that you can do. Not a lot, but so the different kinds of climbing are kind of your basic form is top roping, and that's where you go to the top of something and you fix your anchors and you drop a rope down, and then all of your
How are you getting to the top?
oh, you can just walk. Like,
oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like
I was like, so are you just like no security
No.
until you get to the top, and then
No.
now you make this?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not Alex Honnold. So Alex Honnold is like the biggest name in rock climbing right now because he free soloed El Cap, which is the biggest face in North America. That's in Yosemite. I could be wrong. Everyone just let me know.
Now, like living on
but-
the edge of like fear is fun, but that's really intense.
Yeah, you know, and people do what they want to do, and I support him wholeheartedly. Is it ridiculous that he's climbing 3,000 feet with no rope, no harness, just literally a chalk bag? Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm never going to do it. But hey, he did it, so I'm going to support him. That's awesome.
Go him.
So that's called free soloing. You don't have a harness, you don't have ropes, you don't have gear. You literally have climbing shoes and a chalk bag, and you climb, which is very similar to bouldering. Bouldering is just small scale though. So a boulder will be like the size of this room, and you'll throw these big thick crash pads down. And so if you fall on like a big pad, hopefully, if you set it up correctly.
That kind of sounds like fun. I'm hoping that like people really get excited about rock climbing and give it a try, because it is like what drove you? So like you just fell so in love with it so passionately.
My goal when I was a kid is I wanted to move to Colorado. I want to snowboard. I want to climb. I want to do outdoor things. And it just never happened. I don't know why. I don't know if there was just not enough connection to Colorado or anything. I never made it out there.
Sometimes the stars never align.
Yeah.
And so it's so cool that like it's never too late to do anything.
Exactly. And then I got in the military and I ended up getting sick and gained a lot of weight. And so now it's just been kind of struggle with weight. So I was like, well, what's something I can do because I don't like to just run.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something that was active, using your whole body. And I mentioned to Abby I wanted to climb, and she's like, oh yeah, I'd love to climb. You know, let's climb together. You know, I was like, well, I know they have a rock wall, so we can at least kind of learn on it. And we did the belay course. And so yeah, I started doing it, and I actually get this, I don't run, but I've heard of a runner's high, where at the end of it, you just kind of feel like real loose. And, you know, I mean, I've smoked weed before, and I would definitely
yes, we
say
went there.
that it's close to that feeling.
Yeah.
And so I just started
I'm a
doing
runner,
it.
and I don't think I've ever felt that high.
Yeah, exactly. I've never felt that high. I ran when I was in the military, hockey, baseball, football. I never felt that. And I did a hard session climbing one day, and I had to go I just sat on the little benches over there, and I was like, this is the best feeling
Oh my
ever.
gosh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was a great feeling. So ever since then, I was just hooked. And so then I just go there for a while. I was going every single day, climbing by myself. You know, you mentioned earlier, you know, is the climbing community big, or is it niche, or what is it? Like I said, I think it's very niche, but I think, and this has just been my experience, obviously everyone can have different experiences, but I feel like they're a very open and free and accepting group of people. In general, they want you to know a little bit, because in reality, your life's on the line. If somebody doesn't hook something up correctly, you're falling.
So they're pretty open because they kind of trust you.
Yeah.
You put a lot of trust in each other.
Exactly.
To pay attention and hold on to that.
Yeah.
I remember when I went with you guys, like, there's like a point where you're climbing and like your forearms just can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
There's like nothing left.
So
you're like, there's people down there and they're holding you up, and you're just like trying to make it to the top, but you just The forearm is just like, nope, not having
Yep.
it. And you want to so badly. Mentally, you want to keep going,
You
but
wanna
your
get to the
body
top.
is like,
Yeah.
time to come down.
Yeah, it's funny. So people think climbing is just grabbing and pulling
Yep.
with their arms.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't ever really pull with your arms. You
Yeah.
do a little bit here and there,
Yeah.
but you drive with your legs.
Yeah.
So you'll put your foot into a hold and then you'll push off that hold. Your hands are just kind of there to hold you into the
It's
wall.
beautiful watching you guys climb.
Well, thank you. Once you do it a few times, you learn pretty quickly that, and you'll do it. And it's funny. So dog training and stuff, you'll see a light bulb turn on with dogs.
Uh-huh.
And it's the same thing when I was climbing. One time I was just like jogging, or, grabbing my hands. And all of a sudden I put my foot and I lifted up on my foot and I was like, that was really easy. Why haven't I been doing that the whole time? So, and then from there on out, you kind of get it. So
I need to get in more because obviously I'm still using my arms when I should be using my legs.
Yeah.
It's
all, it's all relevant. You and Ben are super busy people. So if you don't show up for something, I never fault you guys for it because it's like, they were probably doing 400 things yesterday.
Here's the thing is like, I don't know how we're so busy. We don't even have children. Like,
that's probably why you're so busy.
I'm a big baby, I think. Like, I'm so busy. I get no sleep.
Yeah.
But I don't even have kids. So I'm just, I need to I'm trying to find friends to teach me their ways. Yeah, because you have a business.
Yes. Yeah, I own Antelope Creek Acres. Started it 3 years ago now, something like that. I was dating a girl and she said, I want a house. And we had been dating long enough. And I said, okay. Purchased 40 acres south of town. And we hadn't even thought of dog boarding. It wasn't even on our radar. I didn't even know what dog boarding was. I'd never done it before. And we were there and the lady was like, oh yeah, there's kennels, we dog board. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, yeah, we dog board. Because we were going to horse board, and I didn't like the idea.
But do you guys still do that too, though?
No, we don't horse board. So I don't like the idea of horse boarding because at the time, one bale of hay would cost you like $125, and you were only getting $150 per horse per month, and a horse eats about a bale a month, so you're making $25 a horse. To me, it just wasn't worth it. The risk. You're not making your money back. People in the horse world always say there's no money in horses, and there is, but sometimes it's hard to come across. So
you just have to love them.
Well,
maybe
there's always joy in horses, but maybe not making money. So we took the lady's advice. She's like, "This is what I made. This is how many kennels I had," and we were like, "That makes sense." So I took some money out of a 401k and bought the first 6 kennels. Once my ex and I broke up, I just kind of took things over. I've always tried to run that and have a full-time job with employees and stuff like that. But now it's just me, and it's kind of nice. It makes really good money. I'm not complaining about it. So I'm not going to dive into my financials, but I don't want anyone starting a dog boarding business. But yeah, we do good. We do good. And we're like any business. We've had our ups and downs, I think.
I love talking about ups and downs.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, sometimes it's on the surface, it seems like it's, kind of like ducks. We're just floating along down here.
But there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on down here.
Yep. Yeah, icebergs. Icebergs are a lot bigger under the water.
Yes.
Yep. And, this year was probably our best year, but maybe even our worst year all rolled into one. The year started off very hot and heavy. And I think it overwhelmed the employee that I had. And I think things slipped a little bit. And then, that tied into some negative reviews.
Yeah.
And
that's so scary.
Yeah, it was.
Reviews are scary.
They are.
I kind of lose sleep on reviews too.
Yeah.
Because you just how do you come out back from a review? You can't, it's already out there.
Yeah, you can't really, and sometimes reviews are valid, and if there's a valid review, I get it because I've given bad reviews. I'll give it to anybody who wants to give us a bad review if they had a bad experience because
that's good.
But
that you're open to that.
Yeah.
Or your understanding of it.
Yeah, I totally get it. There are times, though, that you get a review and it's like, I had no control over that.
Yeah, yeah.
We had, not just us, every facility in the area was getting Bordetella, which is kennel cough.
Uh-huh.
And dogs are all vaccinated for kennel cough,
Yeah.
but they can still get it. The way I look at it, and once again, I could be totally wrong, this is just my viewpoint, is you vaccinate your kid before it goes to school for the flu, and then it goes to school and gets the flu. And then you come home and you're like, well, I vaccinated you. Why did you get this kind of thing? And that's kind of how Bordetella is you can get different strains of it that isn't vaccinated.
Yeah.
And so this summer we kind of had a couple weeks where we got a lot of Bordetella cases, and I called around to the other boarding facilities, and they also had Bordetella cases, and we all kind of got with the local vets, and we said, hey, what do we need to do? And,
It's nice that you guys are working together.
Yeah, I've done a lot of work over the last few months to try and turn things around and get those reviews back up and get people, liking what it is we're doing out there. The business is great. The place is great. I like having land. This year we actually started, we bought 2 pigs and we bought 3 cows, technically. One of them had an injury, so we had to, take care of her a little sooner than we would have liked. But, that's part of owning animals in that capacity. I love every animal that comes onto our property, and I treat them very well. And I don't know if you saw on Snapchat or Facebook.
I don't have Snapchat.
I know you don't have Snapchat.
I'm still on the fence if I need to get it or not.
It's kind of pointless. I found myself using it less and less and less.
I know. I
Xing
do
them.
feel like I'm missing out on a lot of things. And I
You would
also
love the
feel like I
farm.
might be a celebrity on Snapchat in some type of sense, because people have come up to me and be like, oh, I saw you dancing in the cafe that one time.
Yeah, you'd be popular.
oh,
People would put
geez.
you on everywhere.
I know. And I'm like, I feel like there needs to be some sort of if I'm not on Snapchat, you can't have me on Snapchat. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, like a rule.
Yeah.
If I'm not on there, you can't put me on there.
Yes.
So,
or it blurs out your face or something.
Yeah.
Snapchat needs to come up with some sort of...
yeah, there's technology out there. They
Right.
can figure it out.
Yes.
But we'll still
Get
know it's
that.
you. We know what your dance moves look like.
Oh my gosh.
I saw you on the dance floor.
Nikki's
dance floor. Yeah.
Yeah, her
Yeah.
dance moves.
It's funny. It's funny how as you get old, when you're younger, you just party and do whatever you want. You don't really view consequences or view an alternative view. But as you get older, you're like, yeah, there's a drunk me and there's a sober me.
Yeah.
And that drunk me, he's a guy. You don't worry about him. So
Man.
yeah. But,
I don't know. I feel like as I've gotten older, I'm just kind of more like, you know what? We've all been there. Let's just let them have their moment, or
yeah.
be understanding.
Yeah,
That's what I hope people are like to me, at least.
You have to be.
Yeah.
Everyone's done something stupid. Heck, just last weekend. So we don't drink a lot at home anymore. And I went hunting with my cousins and some of their friends and stuff like that. And I know everybody, so it's a good group of people. And I actually made this comment at one time. I was like, this is probably the greatest group of people I've ever met, because it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah.
They accept you. And
Love those people.
there's super successful people in the group, people that you wouldn't expect to hang out with that group. And it's just funny to look at that group dynamic. And I definitely, the first night I was there, I was a little stressed out from some stuff and hadn't really drank that much prior to that. And I got after it. And I made a little, can we swear? I'm assing myself. But,
Maybe they'll bleep it out. If you
yeah.
can't. I don't know, actually.
I don't know either.
I don't even know if we can talk about drunken weed stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think we can.
We did in
I don't know.
this conversation.
Yeah, a little bit. We just touched on it a little bit. I didn't say I was high now. I just said back when I was a kid, I tried it. But yeah, we got drunk and I made an ass of myself. And the next day they razzed me about it. But that's what you do. You make fun of it, and then you're fine after that. So
yeah,
you kind of let your inhibitions go, and all the stresses from life and work and family and whatever, and you just kind of let go for a little bit. And I think everyone needs that every once in a while.
Amen.
Too many people sit there. And I can't speak for it because I don't have kids, but I could about imagine. A lot of the guys there that weekend did have kids, and you wake up and the kids are there, and you go to sleep and the kids are there, and you go to your alone time, the kids are still there.
I feel that way with our dogs.
They're always trying to be in your lap and stuff. You're like,
I sit in my
just
car
need 10
like
seconds.
5 minutes before I come through the door, because I'm like, I gotta gear up. I gotta gear up for the 3 dogs to be so happy to see me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a double-edged sword. You're like so excited that they're so excited.
Yeah.
But then you're like, hey, just get off of me for a second. Like, I'm not even in the entryway yet.
Yeah.
So.
And it is nice to have that much love. So.
Yeah, exactly. I could about imagine that, people need that de-stressor, especially if you have kids and nothing against being married or anything, but I could about imagine if you've been with the same person for 10 years, it's kind of nice to just get away for a weekend,
I think it's nice to miss people.
Exactly.
Like, it's not necessarily like you always need to just like get away, but you get to like miss that person.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, Abby and I
You think you're annoyed with them, and then the moment they're like away, you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly.
I kind of miss that.
Yeah, and Abby and I talk about that all the time, and it's, the first couple of days, Abby's like, I was pulling my hair out, because I just actually came back from the Boundary Waters a month ago, where I was gone for 7-8 days. And you don't have service up there. I think I talked to her on the phone once, and then maybe text a couple of times. But yeah, you don't have service. So I was like taking that trip, and this is my own selfish reasons because for her it's hard.
That's when you kayaked around.
Yeah,
right?
we kayaked. Yeah,
it's so cool.
I'm selfish with it a little bit because for her, I'm just gone. Like I'm there every day, and then I'm gone for 8 days. No talking really, no nothing. And I could about imagine she's kind of pulling her hair out. Or me, I'm just rowing a boat.
You have a ton of distractions.
Yeah, a ton of distractions. And it's so nice that last day when I come home and I walk in the door, I get all my stuff taken care of, and then she gets home. And for me, it's just like, oh my God, I miss you so much. Yeah. She's great. I have nothing but wonderful things to say about Abby. It's amazing to have someone come in your life and change it and really show you what a great person's like.
Oh,
so yeah,
gosh.
It's great missing her. And you and Ben do a lot of stuff together. Do you guys ever get away from each other? I feel like you guys always do everything together.
We love each other.
Yeah.
We're so weird. Like, we love hanging out.
Yeah.
We love it. Like, we just have so much fun with each other. So sometimes, like, I'll be... I don't know, my friends will be like, you want to do like a ladies' night? I'm like, yeah, ladies' night.
Can
Woo!
Ben come?
In the back of my head, I'm like, maybe Ben will be there. Maybe he'll have a guys' night. We'll run into each other. But I do like, I want to do the ladies' night, but at the same time, I also want to hang out with my best friend, So it's neat. Relationships are fun. Love is cool.
You have to have that.
And we struggle too, though,
Everyone does.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're not spending your life with your best friend, I feel sorry for you. I really do, because that's got to be stressful and painful and every day kind of feel like it's creeping by.
Yeah.
Abby and I, we've been together 2 years, and I was just like, really, 2 years?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, you guys have been.
All right.
It's even like whoa to me too.
Yeah.
That it's been that long. It's so effortless.
Yeah, it's so every day just goes by like it's 30 seconds. So that's nice. It's a great feeling.
Yeah, I've always believed that. I've always believed that like a relationship needs to be more fun than problems. If there's more problems than it is like enjoyment, then.
Yeah, you gotta rethink it
because it's like you get one love, or you should only have one love, or maybe I don't know. Everybody has different beliefs.
Yeah, everyone has their own dynamic. Yeah.
But like if you only get one shot, don't you want it to be awesome and amazing and have an adventure buddy or the relationship is the adventure? Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. High five on that. Yeah. Sorry, Mike.
That's all right.
The mic. Yeah. What's your future like? Where do you see the future? Do you have any more bucket list things you want to do?
Oh, or? Yeah. Actually, we'll cut back into climbing real quick. My goal is to start mountaineering, actually climbing big mountains. And my buddy, I'd say he's my best friend nowadays. Jeremiah, he's the guy I went with to the Boundary Waters in Minnesota. And we did 7 or 8 days this year. We did 90 miles of canoeing. And you're sleeping. We do hammocks. We don't really like tents. We set a tent up one day, but we just put our stuff in it because it was raining. But yeah, I mean, you're paddling a canoe several miles, which doesn't seem like it's that much. But there was one day we had whitecaps that we were canoeing through, and it was challenging. You have to and we were kind of quartering them, so the waves were coming this way, and we had to go that way. So a wave would come in, and you'd turn into it, and then you'd go, and then you'd turn into it, and then you'd go, and it took a while. It was a lot of effort, and I don't think your average person could just get up and want to do that. And we had fun. That was our funnest day.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the most extreme. So, yeah. So next year, or take 2-3 days and come out, and then him and I will go on our big trip.
Yeah.
Because I think next year is going to be more intense. This year we went a long way.
Stepping it up.
Yeah, our first year we only did 4 lakes, and I think we only did 5 days or something. We had way too much gear, and we took kayaks. For everybody, don't take kayaks. Just take a canoe and the least amount of gear as possible, so you're fast and light. And then this year,
you should start a group. You should have.
No one wants to hear what I have to say.
I'm seriously though, because this is such a fun trip. I don't know. So this is an idea that I've had for a while. It's called Out of the Box. And it's a group of people that are wanting to do things that are so out of their element,
Yeah.
And you could be the lead.
Yeah.
Right, out of the box, and we could all go on this excursion.
That would actually, a setup like that would be really good for me, because what I do is I research things endlessly, and I find out everything I can. So same with climbing. I research and research and research, and I was like, all right, let's go climbing. Mm-hmm. So, Abby and I went climbing in South Dakota, and I was setting up anchors, and never set up an anchor in my life, but I'm setting it up, and I know I'm doing it properly, and I'm hooking them up, and screwing them properly, and running the ropes properly, and tying Abby in properly, and so I really delve into my research. And even before our canoe trips, it's I spend some time on YouTube and figure out, where am I going, what could I look into, or what could happen, what kind of gear should I get. The first year we went, I delved through all backpacking gear, everything I need, and purchased $1,200 worth of gear, but it's the right gear, and it's gear I can use all throughout the camping seasons, Mm-hmm. But yeah, no, I would love that. I love researching stuff. Let's go. Let's have fun. So
I planted that little seed in your brain, and maybe by summertime it will be you have one life. Why not fill if your life is a book?
Yep.
Why not have the most epic chapters,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I lost sight of that when I was a kid. I was all about epic chapters, and then, like I said, I kind of got sick and lost motivation, gained a lot of weight, and I kind of lost sight of that. But now that, I would say around age 30, I was like, why am I writing these boring chapters in my book when I can go do more cool stuff? And that ties into what Jerry and we want to go climb Mount Denali.
Oh.
And I was actually supposed to go this year to a mountaineering school. I'm hoping in the next 2 years we'll be climbing the highest point in North America. So.
That's nice to have a plan for that far in the future.
Yeah, it's a rolling plan. It's always been one of those things I want to do. I just haven't quite gotten there. The stars haven't quite aligned, but they'll align.
But you're thinking it, so it will come. Yeah. It will happen.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, this year I'm going to try and lose even more weight than I've lost, and because I'm down about 30 pounds, and I like to be down another 30 plus more, probably 40 pounds total, but got a ways to go. You
can do the Vlad challenge with me.
The Vlad challenge?
The Vlad challenge,
What's that?
No sugar and cold showers.
Oh, so like Wim Hof. Wim Hof does cold showers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, you can YouTube it. He does stuff. So he'll go into frozen lakes with just his shorts on and be fine. So you take a cold shower.
I heard about this guy.
Yeah.
Every time I think I'm cold, I'm like.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to breathe through it basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll
go mental stuff like that.
Yeah, he'll be running on a mountain, no shoes on.
You told me about this guy.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
I think it was you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the Wim Hof method. But the Vlad challenge sounds great too. So I should really cut sugar out. I bet this mocha
You
breve
could join
here.
me with some tea.
Yeah. Well, I always add sugar to my tea with the stevia stuff.
Yeah, well, throw some honey in there. Honey's good too.
Yeah. There's Abby. We buy honey from Richardson, and Abby loves that stuff. That she gets like a jug this big and just goes through it with her coffees and stuff like crazy.
So you actually are the one who introduced me to podcasts.
Oh, really?
Yes. Like, so last night I was also thinking, I did not sleep last night because I was so excited.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I slept like a baby.
Oh, good.
I just got done playing hockey, but yeah, so
It's probably
a good
why.
workout before bed.
Yeah, but I was like, you introduced me to Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
who is like he has some long ones, but they're good.
Yeah.
And you know, they're nice to listen to. I became so addicted to like listening to podcasts or like YouTube channels that like I can't even just like I just want it. I'm in the car and I'm like, who am I going to listen to now? What
Really?
cool things am I going to learn?
What?
Yeah.
It's so great.
So thank you.
Yeah, I love Joe Rogan. I mean, I'll say I'm a fanboy of his podcast because you get such a diverse group, you know. Today it might be an astrophysicist. Tomorrow it'll be, you know, an avid hunter. The next day it'll be a left-wing guy. The next day it'll be a right-wing guy. It's just a good platform to hear everyone's opinion. And, you know, that's kind of what you were saying you wanted to do here is you want to see somebody from the left side of life and the right side of life, not necessarily political, just
right.
You want to see,
you
know, some Joe Schmo from Minnesota. You know, I've done some stuff in life, but it's never been, you know, it's not a miraculous life. It's a good life, but I think I have a couple stories to share. And so I don't know how long you want these things to go, but I'll say.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We really didn't actually talk much about your ears. I still like.
Yeah. We can
did
dive
not
back into
talk
it.
much about that. You don't think that like maybe you would have just grown into them, or?
I'm really glad my parents did it. It was, you know, I feel bad for kids that get bullied. I feel bad for anybody who's just being picked on relentlessly. You know, I obviously do not condone any of the extreme things you see, but, you know, I definitely understand why, especially nowadays where things are just so amplified, you have a kid. I mean, just the other day I saw on the news a girl was prosecuted for murder or manslaughter because her boyfriend or friend at the time was talking about suicidal thoughts, and she's like, oh yeah, just do it. I mean, obviously that's what you want to do, so just go do it, you know. And I guess she said it multiple times, and then he did it, and she was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, he did it. And it's like, wow, you know.
Yeah.
Here's
my thing about like bullying is that like people like who are bullied, they're already thinking those thoughts in their head. They already have like the lack of confidence,
self-doubt.
You know, and so by somebody else saying those mean words, it's just adding on top of to something they're already telling themselves.
Yep.
And it's like, gosh, how can we change that? You know, how can we? I think we started talking about this because I was in the locker room and there was a bunch of high school girls.
Yeah.
And they were like,
you said that girl shouldn't even be
that
here
girl
or
shouldn't even
something.
go to this school.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can you be so mean at such an age, you know? And what did this girl do? And you know what? You don't know what's going on in that girl's life. So like, if you were actually just nice and like friends with her or whoever this person is, I don't know, like it would change everything. All you have to do is just be nice and it'll change that person.
It's not even necessarily about accepting that person and trying to take them under your wing. Just don't be mean to them.
Just don't be mean. Yeah. Just be kind. Just be a good person.
You know, and whether you're saying it, I've gotten in trouble for this several times. I will tell somebody exactly what I'm thinking. And I would much rather tell somebody exactly what I'm thinking, as long as it's nice. Like, I'm not going to be a mean person to somebody. But if you don't like somebody, don't go behind their back and talk bad about them. Because all you're doing is you're just spreading this horrible message. And maybe you're just the person who had one bad experience with that person. Just because you had one bad experience doesn't mean your friend is going to have the same bad experience with that same person. You know, if your friend has a great experience, maybe you just caught them on an off day.
Right. And that's the thing, is that like, I don't think anybody's really that bad of a person. I think that maybe they just they were going through something, or
especially at a young age. Like when you're 12 to 18 years old, are you really that bad? I mean,
Yeah.
you don't know any better. You're just a person. You're just this weird ball of goo that hasn't quite been shaped into something yet, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't know. I mean, growing up, I had financially a good upbringing in that middle part of my life. And all within, I want to say 6 months or a year, my mom lost her license, and my dad was, this was during the recession.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was let go from MWA, no fault of their own, both of them. But we went from making, let's say we were making back in 2006, $7,000 a month to making $2,000 a month.
Yeah.
That's a huge swing financially. Yeah. If a kid's going through something like that and he takes that into school, just be mindful that you don't know what's going on at home. It could be financial.
How do they teach that though? Because then I wonder like, is there a connection between like gossiping or like bashing? Like if it like leads to the same behavior as you get older, because it started in school.
Yeah.
And then you just follow that pattern and continue on.
I'm not sure.
Like, how is there a way that we can just be like, that's enough?
That's enough. I think it's got to be awareness. I mean, would be my take on it. You just have to teach kids to be more open to talking to somebody and having people be more open with their feelings. Because think about it, what's the hardest thing for somebody to do? The hardest thing has to be opening up. Because whether I know you or not, I don't necessarily want you to know what my life is about, because you might judge me based off of that experience I'm going through. And I don't want you to judge me. I want you to like me. So let me just put up this veil and show you the good things when all I want to do is tell you the bad things. And I think that it's just really hard for somebody to be that open with potentially a stranger, especially if they're new. You can't just tell them everything.
Do you think that like that might change? Do you think that people will eventually, like, talking about that kind of stuff, like talking about the real stuff, will eventually just be more norm, and so maybe we can all...
I think that would be as long as it was taken properly. Obviously, if I told you something going on in my life and you made fun of me for it, that would just be horrible.
Yeah.
That'd be the wrong direction. But I think if we taught people that it's okay for your friends to open up, because, there's horrible things happening every single day to people. Yeah. And if that person was able to share it with somebody and get the proper response from that person, I think that could change bullying in a big way, or negative connotations to people in their social circles. And, communication's key in anything, whether it's a relationship or school or your family or your parents. And I think we're in a really cool, interesting time frame where, me growing up, I definitely caught a belt here and there, and a wooden spoon and spankings.
The spoon!
The spoon. The one with the holes. Whew.
Okay, I was talking about this to my class the other day, and like raises. So when I was a kid, like, if we got in trouble, we would have to like kneel, and like we would have books on our hands.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and like, so it'd be if my sister and I fought, so we'd be facing each other holding books straight out, and then if we dropped one, we got another book on our hands. So my sister and I would be like, keep it together. Like, we were like a team. Yes, at first we were fighting, and I was like, man, that was kind of clever. Still kind of torturous, but now I go to the gym and we hold those raises up.
Yeah, now you do it for fun, right?
Right.
You're like talking to somebody you don't even, you better hold this up. I'm not dropping this. Geliza's gonna make us work out more. It's funny. It's funny that we grew up with capital punishment, and nowadays that's not a thing. So I think that we're going from more of this barbaric system to more of a communicative one. So, kids nowadays aren't going to beat their children. They're going to talk to them, and then with kids being able to open up to their parents, it's going to help, as long as the parents handle it correctly. It'll help that kid feel better about that situation because he's able to talk about it. And then from there, if he feels better at home, he'll go to school and potentially feel better. So I
Mm-hmm.
think there is a shift happening. It
Yeah.
just, you know, you're not going to stop bullying tomorrow. It'll
Right.
be 2 generations down the road. It'll
And I
be
feel like mental health right now is like
huge,
so just like
huge.
they're really pushing for, which I'm
Yeah,
so excited about
yeah,
because it really does. There's so many connections that boil down to mental health,
yeah,
and
yeah.
having good mental health. That's
I've definitely, you wanted to get raw and real on here. I've only had real mental issues one time in my life, and it was such a overwhelming experience. It was terrifying
Do you mind
because
if I
no,
ask?
I'm
Like,
actually going to share. So,
yeah.
um, a couple years ago, I was with somebody, and they kind of left one day while I was at work,
Mm-hmm,
and I didn't know how to handle the situation properly, which was my fault, not theirs. I didn't know what to do.
mm-hmm,
You're with this person for 3 years, and every single day you come home and they're there, and then you come home one day and they're not.
mm-hmm,
And I definitely had suicidal thoughts, and I didn't know what to do. I knew in the back of my mind I didn't want to take my life, but something in the front of my mind was just saying, do it. Yeah, you're going to go do it.
yeah.
And it was the weirdest thing ever because I didn't know what to do. And I definitely called suicide hotlines. Everybody,
Oh,
if you
wow.
are having those thoughts,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
call those people. More or less, they're just there to listen to you. But sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah.
I reached out to friends and I felt bad. I got to say thank you to all of my friends when I was reaching out because I would call them every day with the same annoying stuff. Looking back, it was annoying. I was talking about the same thing over and over and over again.
But that's what was
But that's
bothering
what was
you.
bothering me, and I didn't know what to do. And even their suggestions, they would say the same thing each time, and that's great. I just needed to keep hearing it. And yeah, I mean, to be real raw and real, there was a couple of times I was sitting in a field just kind of
Yeah.
because I was like, I don't want to do this in my house. I don't want to make a mess. I don't want to do this
Yeah.
here. I
Mm-hmm.
don't even want to do it on my property. Let me just do this in some random field and then easy cleanup because I don't want to be a burden to anybody. And it took a while. I'd say a few months to get those thoughts out of my head and get past it.
When you were in the field,
Yeah.
what how did you stop your like what was going?
Like I said, it was just that thing in the back of my brain that was like, you don't want to do this. You don't
Yeah.
know why you're sitting here.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what to do to get from even coming out here, but you're here. So just try and think it through. And there was just that part in the back that was just like, don't do it. Even though the part in the front was just
Yeah.
screaming, you have to kind of, even though something's screaming in your ear, try and listen to that thing in the back that says you don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, people love you. Whether you think they do or they don't, my ex loved me, even though she left. It,
Mm-hmm.
it didn't matter that she left. She still loved me. My parents loved me. My friends loved me. No one doesn't want to see me tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's the same for anybody. Whether you don't feel like you have anybody, there's someone. There's always somebody there that wants you there for the next day. And yeah,
Is that what got
just,
you through like I guess like getting past that or like moving on from that?
I don't know. It was just that voice. I don't know if wasn't maybe necessarily family or friends or anything. It was just that little voice that just said, "Hey, you don't want to do this."
I guess I'm
Whatever
like,
the reasons
yeah.
are, whether it's family or your own personal selfish reasons. There were selfish reasons that I didn't want to do it. There were selfish reasons I wanted to do it, but at the end of the day, between talking to people and having people on my side, I was able to eventually work through it. And then,
Okay.
I ended up meeting Abby at the very tail end of everything, which was really nice because if I would have met her in the middle, it would have been
Mm-hmm.
horrible. We wouldn't be here today, I'm sure, as a strong couple.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just took time. And then it's weird. I've never had those thoughts since. I've never,
Wow.
it's probably one of the weirdest situations I've ever been in because I had no control over it. And I like to be very in control of myself and what I feel and what I think and where I'm going and to have those thoughts. And I would say the something that amplifies it, and this is PSA to everybody, alcohol is probably the worst, because you'd have those feelings and you'd want them to go away, so you'd try to drink, and that just maybe in the beginning they'd go away, but then you'd get too drunk and they would come back in full force, and it was a horrible situation. And probably horrible 3 to 4 months, something like that, that I was going through that. But just every day, you just kind of
working towards trying to get ahead of the thoughts that were pulling you back.
Yeah, exactly. And don't pick up a bottle, don't pick up a beer. Just it's tough. You got to just drive past the liquor store and just go home, and it sucks because you're sitting there with your thoughts. But at the end of the day, they're your thoughts, and you're the one that can change them. And that's just eventually what I did.
That's so powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. I told you last night I'm an open book. If the last 5 minutes of what I'm saying helps somebody, I'd rather help them than keep what happened bottled up, because
I believe so much in that. I really do. I think that the moment that you share, you become so vulnerable and you share something that's so intimate like that.
Yeah.
People they feel less alone because they might be going through what you're going through. It's great to hear that they're not alone and that they've been there.
Yeah. And I think everybody has a rough patch. They may not go to the extremes, but they have a down patch.
I'll admit, there was one point I was having a pretty hard year, and I drove to a lake.
Yeah.
I drove to a lake, and I was like, I could just drive in.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. Keep the windows up, lock the doors, put the seatbelt on, make it hard as possible.
And it's just like, oh my gosh. And just to think back, when you finally get over that, and to think back, wow, how far you know. But it's one of those things where now you can relate to that, to somebody. I feel like I can understand where you've been.
Yeah.
And so you're sharing this story, and I'm just sorry, I'm going to kick you. I get it, and I hear you,
Everybody I can think of that's ever really opened up to me, they've all had thoughts. And they've all been vulnerable, and you're not alone. No one's alone, So it's just good that
together.
But it's weird. It was a tough patch, but I got through it, and I'm so happy.
Now you're gonna climb mountains and stuff.
Yeah, I'll climb mountains. Let's go. Yeah, that's the goal. Is and if you can replace things too. I know it's hard. It is so hard when all you want to do is just sit in a hole and drink yourself deeper into that hole, and because you're trying to get away from it. Working out, keep your body in shape. Even if it's a little round. I saw a meme today, and it's a whale jumping out of the ocean, and it says, when you're a little fat, but you're also athletic. and I related to that. I'm like, I can rock climb. I can outrun Abby, and she weighs half my weight, And and then the third thing is just find things to do. If your thing is game, I don't care. But find things to do. Go out, see the world. I've traveled as much as I can. I would have much rather traveled more. But
there's still time.
Yeah, there's still time. Abby and I are planning on trips all the time. But get out there and see what the world has to offer. I know that if you're in a small town, it's very comfortable to be in that small town. It's very comfortable to be a part of the friends you've always had and the people you've always been around, and it's safe. But try and get out there. And I'm not talking a week in Cancun where everyone else is American or everyone else is from where you're from.
Yeah.
Try just going somewhere else take 2 weeks. Go to Europe. Take time and see how other people live. And it's a humbling experience. Those 3 things. Focus on your money, focus on your weight, and get out and see what the world has to offer.
I love that. I feel like that's the best way to just conclude Tea Talks today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that was so amazing. That was just beautifully said, and I really
Thanks.
got.
I'm a bit of a poet, you know.
Well, thank
No.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
I appreciate
you so
it.
much
Thanks
for
for
being
having
here.
me.
Thank
Yeah, this
you
was a great time.
so much, Tyler, for coming on to
Absolutely.
Tea Talks. We appreciated everything you had to share.
That's what
It
I'm here
was
for.
so beautifully put. We are so excited for the next episode of Tea Talks. So thank you so much for tuning in today, and we'll see you next time.
Perfect.
You guys are great.
Thank you.
Yay! I was gonna hug you, but then I was like, I think they only have like this
Yeah,
much.
yeah, we can't
so we'd
stand
be like,
up.
oh hi. Like,